French gets the status of being a language, I'll learn it. Nick knows I love him. All right, friends. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos.
A beautiful, albeit kind of humid day here in Huntington. I don't know what to do with the humidity. Can't do a thing with my hair, but it's not.
I know that.
Maxine agrees. And it is, but it's sunny out, and we are on the eve of Clest, Virginia.
Yeah.
Clest, Virginia, which I think whoever came up with that is just absolutely brilliant. That
Can I say a
I've been calling it.
So when I was talking about this idea of Hoyt's at Yiddish New York and that we wanted to do this and who might want to come, they said everybody would love to come to West Virginia, and if you call it Clest, Virginia, will come. Like 20 people said that. So
Is this like,
we had to call it Clest,
is this
Virginia.
like Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come.
Yes. I think it'll happen.
You had
And
me.
we
You
have
had me.
nice canterns
You had me at klezmer.
come.
Had me at klezmer. All right, let's
That's gonna be
let's
cute.
begin our morning
Perfect.
service with a little bit of gratitude, and we'll start on page 68. Page 68 with Modeh Ani. Modeh Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam. Modeh Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam. Shehezarta bi nishmati b'chemla rabba emunatecha modeh ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam. We'll continue warming up in this preliminary part of the service with Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu, page 74. Ma Tovu, Ma Tovu, Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Va'ani berov chastecha, Ahavo beitecha, Eheshtachaveh, Eheshtachaveh, El Heicha HaKodshecha, B'yiratecha, El Heicha Kodshecha, B'yiratecha. Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha, U'mekom mishkan kavodecha, Va'ani eshtachaveh v'yechra'a, Evrecha lifnei Adonai osi, Va'ani tefilati, Lecha Adonai, Eich rahatzon, Elohim, Berov ha'astecha, Aneni be'emet yishecha. Page 76, one of my favorite rabbinic pieces of the liturgy, Asher Yatzar, thanking God for bodies that work, and after lots of haranguing from my mom and my partner and Toby. It took Toby to kidnap me literally yesterday, deposit me at the ortho clinic, and I found out we've named the problem with my knees. It has a name, and so I am thankful for a body that is starting to work again. Page 76. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah uvara bo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chavodecha she'im yapateach echad mehem o yisatem echad mehem אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר, ומפליא לעשות. Asher Yatzar is also the most recited bracha every day. The amount of times that you can actually say it. All right, page 80, I'll ask everybody please rise. Birkot HaShachar, the morning blessing, starting with thanking God for creating alarm clocks, or in this case, the rooster. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechel v'bina l'habchin bein yom u'bein layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Pokeach Ivrim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Matir Asurim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Zokef Kefufim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Rokah haaretz al hamayim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamechin b'tzadei gaver, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Malbish agumim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hanoten la'ed koach, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hama'avir shena me'enai, U'pnuma me'afapai, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasani b'tselem Elohim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah. You may be seated. Let's jump to the bottom of page 87. In traditional Sidurim, there are 6 Torah episodes that are listed at the end of Shacharit during the daily morning service. And the rabbis feel that these are 6 things that we should always reflect upon throughout our day. And out of all of the possibilities that they could have focused on, they focus on 6 really, really integral things. First of all, Yetziat Mitzrayim, the going out from Egypt, right? And that was the entire part, the idea of Passover. But we are enslaved to a lot of things, and it's not just on Passover that we think about them, and we should think about them every day. What keeps us from being who we need to be? And it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could be, I want to be a better student of Hebrew, but I don't have the time, right? So the idea is that you can make time. You're not enslaved to who you are or who you were yesterday. You could always improve. You could always get better. You could always strive to be the person you were meant to be. And so we think about that because that is integral to who we are as Jews. We don't just think about the slavery. It wasn't the time that we were slaves and that was it. No, it's Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's the going out from the place of slavery that is important. And so anytime that we feel enclosed, we can find a way out. Amalek, one of the great villains of our tradition, right? And we recall what Amalek did, and he attacked us from behind. And you know that I've said, that's bad, right? When you attack people from behind. But I also put the onus on the Bnei Yisrael at that point. Why were the people lagging behind? Why was there such a big group ahead of them that allowed them to become victims of people who would attack from behind, right? Yes, it was the aged, it was the infirm, it was the sick, it were the children. People that we don't care about? That's not good. Amalek, the people who want to destroy us, want to sneak up on us. And if we have nobody watching our backs, Amalek will always be successful. So instead of rushing ahead, pace ourselves so that everybody goes ahead with us. Everybody is safe and secure in the travel. Mamad Har Sinai, when we all stood at Sinai, whether we were part of Bnei Yisrael, whether it was our souls that had yet to be embodied, right? We all stood there and we witnessed this great event, whatever it was. Was it God actually speaking? Was it some sort of group event where we all had the same kind of experience, but it was something huge? And the whole point of getting the Torah is to make it part of our daily lives. And so we recall that moment when we got it for the first time, when it still had that new Torah smell. And we open it up every day and see what it can teach us. Maaseh Egel HaZahav. Again, not a stellar image, not a stellar piece of behavior from our ancestors in which they got frightened and resulted falling back into idolatry, right? But the idea for our remembering it is anything that we put before our service to God is an idol. And I don't mean that we have to walk around pious people dressed like the Hasidim or dressed like the ultra-Orthodox or behave like the ultra-Orthodox. But we let too many things get in front of us and too many things take on great importance. I got to get the new car. I have to have the new iPad. I have to have the beautiful house. I have to get the job that will allow me to have more money. And if that affects us and how we interact with other people, how we interact with our communities, that becomes idolatry. And that's why we need to remember that our ancestors, fell prey to that as well. Korach, another great villain. Korach, the guy who would show up to Moshe and say, look, I know this thing about Techelet, but if I have a garment that is made completely of Techelet, do I have to put a fringe of blue on it? Or, Moses, how about this one? I have a tent and it's made completely of Torah scrolls. Do I have to put a mezuzah on? Well, these are, Korach was just a troublemaker. And he kept throwing things at Moshe. And ultimately, he embarrassed Moshe publicly. And that's the big sin, right? You can disagree with somebody, but don't dare embarrass them publicly. I often wonder why that miracle where the ground opens up its mouth and swallows, why that doesn't happen more often.
Are you saying he as God?
Did I say he for God? I'm sorry. I just meant God.
Well, I know, but you need to change your pronoun today.
She was following the subject.
No, I understand. I mean,
I was actually listening.
I'll lie. We should all. No, I sometimes slip because Hebrew is a grammatical language, and if I'm thinking in Hebrew,
I know.
right?
I'm
Yeah,
just
you know
saying
that.
Modern.
No, God is God. God has no form. God has no form. God is the energy that binds the universe together. Okay, but Korach, if we allow our egos to get in the way, we do more damage than good. And ultimately, we should recall Shabbat, the first gift, not just to the Jews, but to all of humanity. Right at the end of the creation story, we get Vayachulu. God did it all, and then God rested on that day. It wasn't just to the Jews, because there were no Jews at that time in the story of creation. Shabbat is the most important holiday. It happens every week, 52, 54 times a year. Rosh Hashanah, once a year. Yom Kippur, once a year. Important holidays, but not the most important. Shabbat is, and so we should change our behavior on Shabbat. We shouldn't use Shabbat as a day to run errands. We have 6 other days for that, Sunday through Friday. One day we just change things up. All right, so don't go out for dinner on Shabbat lunch. Eat at home, have some friends over, enjoy, relax, go for a walk, take the animals out, talk to the animals, talk to your partner, talk to your children, right? Do something that you don't do, unfortunately, probably don't do the other 6 days of the week. Make Shabbat special. And those are the 6 things that we should recall every day. I love it. I love it. Page 90 and 92, Kaddish Rabbanan. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'amad Yivrach Yeruteh, V'yamlik Malchuteh, V'chayecho, V'yimecho, V'chayecho, Beit Yisrael, V'agalav, Yizman Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah, Mevarach, L'olam, L'omei Amaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei, D'Kudashah, Richu, Le'elam, Yinkol, V'yachata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechamata, Damiram Ba'alma V'yimru, Amen. All Yisrael, V'al Rabbanan, V'al Talmidehon, V'al Kol Talmidehon, V'al Kol Man Daskim B'oraita, Divyatra Hadein V'di V'chol Atar V'atar. Yehei Lahon L'chon Shlama Rabba, China B'chista V'rachamin, V'chayin Arechin, M'zonei V'bichei, V'frakanam Kodam V'hon V'ishmaya, V'ara V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shmaya, V'chayim Tovim, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav, Hu Brachamav Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Page 94, we're moving out of Birkot HaShachar into Pesukei Dezimra, verses of Psalm and praise. The brachot are longer, more involved, and focus not necessarily on the individual, but our collective experience of God. Baruch She'amar 94. Baruch She'amar b'hayaholam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Oseh Reshit, Baruch Omer V'Yoseh, Baruch Gozer Mekayim, Baruch Merachem al Haaretz, Baruch Merachem al Habriot, Baruch Mishalem Sachar Tov L'Reav, Baruch Chayla L'Kayam L'Netzach, Baruch Podeh Umatzil, Baruch Shemo. And near the bottom 3 lines of the English paragraph, we read together, with songs of praise, we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty. For you are the source of life in the universe, one God, life of the universe, praised and glorious ruler. Your name is eternal. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign, who is glorified through praise. Baruch atah Adonai, melech muhulal, b'tishbachot. Page 96, some verses from Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat. The only psalm that has such a designation. All the other psalms that we read on the days of the week, there's a psalm for Sunday, Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, and those were all picked by the rabbis. But this is the only one inside the book of Psalms that has this title, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, Lehagid ba'boker chastecha, ve'emunatecha ba'leilot, Alei asur v'alei navel, Alei higayom bechinor, Alei asur v'alei navel, Alei higayom bechinor. בעולמכו משרתך איש בר לא ידע, וכיסי לא יבין את זאת. צדיק כתמה יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני. Bechatro Eloheinu Yahafrihu Ojeluhu Beseva Yeshenim Bera'ananim Ihiyu Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Aflatabo. Page 97, Ashrei. It's a Psalm 145 by itself, a beautiful acrostic psalm with the exception of the letter Nun. We don't include the letter Nun because the letter Nun is part of the word Nafal, which means to fall. And we don't want Bnei Yisrael, we don't want our communities or our friends to fall. So, but 145 by itself is wonderful when it's joined by Psalm 84, when it's joined by Psalm 144, when it's joined by Psalm 115. It is no longer Psalm 145, but with a little help from its friends, it becomes Ashrei. Ashrei, oh baby, oh Ashrei, oh baby. Oh, hallelujah, Selah. Tehillah David, Aromim Chalahai Hamelech, Vavarcha Shimcha Leolam Vaed. Gadol Adonai Lameod, V'ligdolato Ein Cheker. Hadar Kivod Hodecha, V'divrei Niflotecha Asicha. Zecher Rav Tuvcha Yabiu, V'tzidkatecha Yiranenu. Tov Adonai Lakol, V'rachamav al kol ma'asav. Kivod Malchutecha Yomeru, Ugvoratecha Yedaberu. Malchutecha Malchut kol olamim, Umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Einei chol elecha yesaberu, V'ata noten lehem et ochlam b'ito. Tzadik Adonai b'chol drachav, V'chasid b'chol ma'asav. Retzon Yirayav Yaseh, V'et Shabbatam Yishma V'yoshiem. V'ilat Adonai daber pi, V'varech ol basar, Shem kodsho li'olam va'ed. V'rachminordechya, Me'ata v'ad olam. Hallelujah. Page 100, we're going to continue with the idea of praising God, but also it's interesting, I hear people say, when we want to have musical instruments in the synagogue, that, we shouldn't have them because, Psalm 115 is proof that there were musical instruments used, at least in temple periods, in terms of, how they would sing. So there's lots of instruments. It's like a big jam session that went on the steps of the temple with the Levi'im, with the Levites, singing, especially if they brought the shofar, and if they brought the timbrels, and if they brought the harps and the lyres, the lutes, and the cymbals.
Sounds like a party.
It is a party. It was a party, for the most part. It was, unless you were one of the animals, then it was less of a party. But no, then it's interesting. There was a book that came out many years ago, The Name of the Rose, written by Umberto Eco. And there's a scene where it's set in a monastery, so not a lot of Jews running around. And it's set in a monastery, and the film version hits this very well, where there's this very old priest, and he's blind, he's kind of cantankerous, and the monks were laughing, and he says, but the Nazarene never laughed. There was no humor. And they say to him, how do you know? He said, because it was never recorded. It never said that he laughed. And I'm like, oh, okay. But the idea is that we sometimes think that our ancient ancestors were humorless, that everything was done, read the Talmud. There is such humor in the Talmud. In unexpected places, there is humor. And the rabbi, Asher Yitzar, that prayer, there's a little bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right? For thanking God for creating openings and closings, and that things should be open when they should be open and closed when they should be closed. And imagine if you didn't know if something was going to stay open, and how the rest of your day would be upended, as it were, right? So it's not ha 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 funny, but there is humor, and we can find the humor, and we can find the music and the good times in the ancient world. Psalm 150, the final psalm of the book of Psalms. Hallelujah, hallelujah, bekodsho, hallelujah, birkia uzo, hallelujah, bigvorotav, hallelujah, kiro kutho, hallelujah, beteka shofar, hallelujah, benevel bechinor, hallelujah, betofu macho, hallelujah, b'minim biugav, hallelujah, b'tziltzalei shama, hallelujah, b'tziltzalei trua, kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah. There's another tune that I call the tune that never ends for that particular psalm.
Miranda and I like that one.
Pardon?
Miranda and I like that one.
Yeah, I think that's the same one. Is that the same one?
No, it's not this one. This one's a shorter one. The other one would still be going on.
Oh.
Sorry.
Page 101, Nishmat. Nishmat kol chai, tivarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu, v'roch kol basar, tivarech Malkeinu tamid min halam atayel, iman v'atalata, v'arushon, v'nim elah kol brioch. Lecha levatcha, anachnu modin. Top of 102, ilu finum leishya kayam, u'shonenu hinat amon alas, itatenu sheva, emechabei rakia, inenu yahok Hashem esyu, enak maspichim. Imavotenu vimotenu vimanu al kene vagin shpelata habanu v'ruk neshamai kene yudu v'ruk Chamor David, Barchi Nafshi et Adonai, Bechol Kravai et Shem Kodsho. Ahayel b'tatshumutu zecha, Hagadol b'kavod shemecha, Hagibor l'netzach v'hanora b'norotecha, Hamelech hayoshev al kisei ram b'nisa, Shochen ad maharo, V'kadosh shemoho, v'katuv renu tzadikim b'Adonai, l'sharim navat tehila, b'fi yesharim tithalal, u'divrei tzadikim titbarach, u'vilshon chasidim titromam, u'v'kerev kedoshim titkadash, u'v'makalot rivavot amcha beit Yisrael, V'gina yipar shimcha melkenu b'chol dor v'ador. 105, please rise for Yishtabach. Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkenu, Hayel hamelech hagadol v'kadosh b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki l'chana Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu b'imotenu, shir u'shvacha halel b'zimra, Ozu memshala, nehetzach gedula, ugevura, tehila b'tiferet, kedusha u'malchut, brachot v'hodaot, me'atavad olam. Baruch atah Adonai, el melech adol b'tishbachot, el hahodaot, adon haniflaot, abocher b'shirei zimra, Melech Elchei Ha'olamim, Yikadal V'Yikadash Shemei Rabba, V'Yalma Divrach Yutei V'Yamlik Malchutei, V'Chayechon U'Vyomechon, U'Chayei Nechol Beit Yisrael, Bahagala, U'Bizman Kariv, V'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, la'olam v'la'olmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shmei d'kudashah b'richu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram v'alma, b'yimeru, amen. Page 108, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai ha'mevorach. Baruch Adonai mevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfat shema lehamlicho b'levav shalem u'liachdo b'lev tov u'lomdo b'nefesh hafetza Ulodo benefesh hafetza. Praise are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us how to recite the Shema, to declare wholeheartedly God's rule, to declare earnestly God is one, and to zealously worship God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer ur uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei hakol. Ameir la'aretz l'achim alecha b'rachamim, u'tuvo mekadesh b'chol yom tamid. Ma'aseh v'reshit ma'arabu ma'asecha kolam b'chokma asita malei haaretz v'nita tiparach l'Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadeh v'yom yachmei or shetit or chadash al Tzion ta'ir v'nizkechu lanu meher al yoro Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. Second bracha before Shema, 112. Allah Rabba Havtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chem Lagidol V'Tera Chamalta Aleinu. And let's read the English paragraph together. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. V'ha'ereinu b'toratecha, v'dahabek lebeinu b'mitzvotecha, v'yachei levadeinu li'ahava u'yira et shemecha, v'lo nevosh, v'lo nikalem, v'lo nikashel, Le'olam va'ed, ki b'shem kodshecha, hagadol v'hanora b'hatachnu, nagila, 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 v'nismecha b'shuvatecha, v'habienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot ha'aretz, v'tolichenu k'mimiut li'artzenu, Kiel poel Yeshuot ata, ubanu v'charta v'kervavtanu l'shimcha hagadol sela be'emet, lehodot l'chal yehetcha b'ahava, baruch ata Adonai, abocher ba'amo Yisrael, b'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol lavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol meodecha, v'hayu advarim ha'eleh, Asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha Uchtatam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. 118. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor dahaber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem v'yasu lehem tzitzit al kanfei v'gdehem ledurotam v'natenu Al tzitzit hakanaf piltechele, v'hayam lachem l'tzitzit, uvritem oto, ushartem et kol mitzvot Adonai, va'asitem otam, v'lo tatuhu acharei levachem, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת יציב אהוב וחביב ונורא. ואדיר וטוב יפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד, מדבר לעולם אלוקינו, צור יעקב מגן אישנו לדור ודור, הוא קיים ושמו קיים, וכי אנחנו מלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת, ודבריו חיים וקיימים, ונאמנים ונחמדים לעד ולמי עולמים. ממצרים גאלתנו, אדוני אלוהינו מבית עבדים פדיתנו, על זאת שפלו אהובים, וראו אל נתנו דין זמירות שירות ותשבחות ברכות הודות למלך החי וקיים, רם ונישא גדול ונורא, משפיל גאים ומקביע, שפלים מוציא אסובים ופודה ענבים, ועוזר דלים ועונה לנו בעת שלום. תהילות לאל עליון, ברוך הוא ומברך, משה בני ישראל חנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות וספלה, שיר החדשה, שיבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, אומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדכן ומחה, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, God Israel. We are at the Amidah, and we will begin 124, 126, 128, and 130. Yes, even 130 we'll chant together. After that, we'll go silently, and you can complete the Amidah on your own, finishing the prayer in Hebrew, reading the English translations, or offering up your own meditative prayer at that time. But we're going to begin together on 124. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Goel Ibnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Yisrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atarav L'Hoshia, Morid Hatahal, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, mishenei afa, michamocha la'al gevorot, umidomelach, melech mimi, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'chayot metim, baruch ata Adonai, mechayeh hametim. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Kishem shemachti shimoto b'shmei marom, kakatuv al yad nevi'echa, v'kara zeh el zeh v'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Meloch haaretz, Yevodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir Shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch Yevod Adonai, Min komo, Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu v'hu Yashmienu, Berachamav le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, Ledor Vador, Hallelujah. Ledor Vador Nagid God Lecha, Ulanetzach Netzachim Kedushacha Nahakdish, V'shivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu Lo Yamush Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Let's continue. Middle page 134. Let's recite that paragraph together in English. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us to share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Ritzay. Now there's I don't know the tune, but Ritzay, I'm sure Cantor will be able to.
She's up for it.
No. I mean, but be able to join in. you know who wrote the Ritzay?
I can't remember.
Well, I don't know which one it
That's
is.
what I'm saying, is that there's a number of Ritzay. That's the one.
Who wrote that one?
Stephen Richards.
Okay. The only reason I asked who wrote it is that it's sometimes easier for cantors when you say the Stephen Richards
Yeah, right.
Ritzay than just give us a tune for
I
Ritzay.
forget, there's so many.
There are so many.
No.
Do you know that one, Cantor?
Yeah, I don't remember which of these words is closest to the words that he said it with.
Well,
I think
Toby
it'll work out.
knows it. I mean, and I don't. And
Oh, Miranda's gone.
yeah, Miranda's gone. So, all right, but page 136, a little bit of Ritzay.
Okay. Whoa.
Well, let's give it a go.
Say Adonai Eloheinu Le'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahava Tekaber U'tehi L'ratzon Tamid Avodat Yisrael Well, I go to my place. I'm excited. I'm like, it's a cantor. El Karulecho Korah Kene Alvadecha Bechoneinu Sheshruchacha Aleinu V'techazela Einenu Veshuvacha Tzion Rachamim Baruch Atah Adonai Hamelech Hazeh Shechinato L'Tzion. I got nervous about the cantor.
I just like hearing everybody singing. That's what I like to hear. So it's all good on me. It was nice. All right, we're on 139. A little bit of hoda'ah, a little bit of thanksgiving. But you can't have Thanksgiving without gratitude. And so lots to be grateful for this week. I mean, my cup overflows this week. My friend and colleague, Sarah, is here. And we have the West Virginia Music Fest, and I'm very excited about that. Get your Yiddish klezmer on. I was kidnapped and dropped off and held hostage at an orthopedic clinic, and so my knees are smiling, even if I'm not. My knees are smiling, and lots of good things. The weather is beautiful, and we're here with friends in our community. So page 139, let's start, and we'll ask the cantor to start at the top, and we're gonna snake around and end up with Nick.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim Anachnu Lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim Anachnu Lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim Anachnu Lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim Anachnu Lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world and have lived, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. And together, we pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha l'chana lahodot. Page 140, we close out every Amidah with a prayer for peace, and in the morning, Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael Amecha, Barucheinu Yotzreinu, Kulanu ke'echad Lior Panecha, Ki v'or Panecha, Natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Torah Chaim, V'ahavat Chesed, Utzedaka Uvracha V'rachamim, Rachamim V'chaim V'shalom, V'rachamim V'chaim V'shalom, V'tov Be'enecha L'varech et Amecha, Tamecha Yisrael, Bechol eit ubechol sha'a, Bishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamevarech et amo Yisrael, Bashalom. Jump ahead to 253, one of the many prayers for healing. This is the Misha Berach, top of 253. Misha Berach Avotenu V'imotenu, Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov, Sarif Kam Rachel V'Leah, Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem, L'chalimam L'rapotam V'lachazikam V'yishlach Lehem Mehegro Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim, Refuah HaNefesh, Refuah HaGuf, Hashtag Aglav Izman Karib, and Omar, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. Let us all say, Amen. Pages 258 and 259, prayers of our community. Mr. President, how about the prayer for our congregation?
All right. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion.
Thank you.
Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, Shiltecha levatcha b'yirah na'avod. There she is. There's our joyful woman. Can you give us a prayer for our country?
A guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit.
Amen. Shalom, Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ovayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Nick, the prayer for Israel in Ivrit, please.
אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל. ראשית צמיחת ולתנו. הגן עליך בעברת חסדיך ופרוס עליך סוכות שלומך. ושלח אורך ועמיתך ראשיה, שריה ויהיו קציה, ותקנן פריצה טובה מלפניך. ונתן שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושבך בטובה. Amen.
Amen.
Toby, how about in English, please?
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead advice, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land for Israel and for Gaza, the return of the hostages, peace, and two-state solution on our time, and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen.
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 All right, friends. Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos.
See, I like that. I like that. As I confessed last week, I was in a confessional mood. I spent a great deal being a nerd, thinking about the Torah and our tradition. Sometimes I look at the Torah and I shake my head, wondering how we came up with some of the laws and commandments. Other times I am overcome with a great sense of awe, a sense of radical amazement, marveling at how we came up with some of the laws and the commandments. And this week, it's amazement. This week's portion contains some of the most quoted and least understood lines of the Torah. In our parsha, we read, the ish ki yitain mum ba'amito ka'asher asa kain ya'aseh lo. If anyone hurts his fellow as he has done, so shall it be done to him. Shever tachet shever, ayin tachet ayin, shein tachet shein, ka'asher yitain mum ba'adam, kain yinaten bo. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. The injury he afflicted on another shall be inflicted upon him. The amount of commentator ink spilled over these verses defies description. Ocean comes to mind. If you ask a person on the street, what is the justice code of the Torah? More than likely you will get an eye for an eye as your answer. Many people think that this is a fine way of doing this, right? You hurt me, I will hurt you. You poke out my eye, I will poke out your eye. Famous turn in a Shakespearean play, The Merchant of Venice, focuses on these particular lines. And there are still cultures that exist today that are fine with this idea of retribution. It's known as the law of retaliation. In Latin, it sounds much better. Lex talionis, right? It sounds great there, right? Lex talionis. And it's based on the concept of let the punishment fit the crime, right? So if I poke out Hoyt's eye, Hoyt gets to poke out my eye. If Maxine breaks my toe, I get to break Maxine's toe.
I would never.
You would never, I know. I know. That's why I chose you, because you would never. And although it might seem like a brutal form of punishment, it's actually quite revolutionary. Instead of a blood vengeance, instead of my being able to kill you for some minor wrong that you have done to me, and instead of allowing me to take matters into my own hands, this principle created a law of equivalence. Let the punishment fit the crime, right? So if I hurt you, you don't get to kill me. If I kill you, there is capital punishment involved, but for some minor infraction, you don't get to take it to the extreme. But it doesn't take too long to see the problem here. How can you be sure if you pluck someone's eye out in retribution that you are not doing more damage than is allowed? This is in Shakespeare, right? You are allowed a pound of flesh, not an ounce more, not an ounce less. You have to cut it out in one swipe, and it cannot be more than a pound or less than a pound, right? So this is some of the ways that the rabbis are thinking, right? If I poke your eye out, what happens if I do more damage? right? What happens if I nick your eyelid? Now, do you get to nick my eyelid? And what happens when you nick my eyelid if you cut my eyelid off? You see how this is going to unfold. It's going to keep going. And so the rabbis really don't like this. We don't want this to be read literally. In fact, if we did leave these words literally, we would be in pretty sorry shape. Gandhi famously said, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind, right? As revolutionary as it is, it needs to be further developed. And scholars debate whether or not the ancient Israelites actually meted out punishment in this manner. They weren't as good record keepers as we are today, right? They didn't have the internet. They didn't have cell phones where everything is documented and put out for public consumption.
I'm making sure of it.
I want the good old days where, when you had to send somebody a not so tasteful picture, you had to take it, get it developed, put it in an envelope, and send it in the mail. Right? Nowadays, there's no such thing. Almost all of the great commentators agree that the Torah is pointing to monetary value for injuries done to another. And this is also another revolutionary idea. In other words, one pays the equivalent monetary value for an eye, a tooth, a limb. This makes perfect sense, or else we would all be blind. There's another reason, though, for considering the monetary value of a body part. One that the Torah teaches over and over again. Since we do not own our bodies, we can't do whatever we want to them. They are gifts from God, and they house our souls. Or as one of my favorite Torah teachers, the Chama Leibovich, put it, quote, a person cannot dispose of his limbs in the same way he can dispose of his goods, since his limbs, his entire body, are not under his authority. A person is not master of his own body, but God, to whom belongs both soul and body, is master of them. No person has the right to inflict harm on another person or on themselves. When justice demands compensation for damages, it is monetary. It is financial compensation. Now, if we reject physical mutilation as retaliation, how do we assess the monetary equivalent for injuries? Well, I'm glad you asked, or said that Hoyt knows. The rabbis in the Mishnah and then ultimately in the Gemara come up with 5 categories of consideration. Nezek, which means damages, right? How bad is the injury? How bad is it? Is it catastrophic? Is it a minor inconvenience? Sa'ar, pain. What kind of pain is a person in? Is it major pain? Is it from a scale of 1 to 10, an 11? Or is it more like a 3? The difference between, say, cutting your arm off with anesthesia or without, right? Now, that's the idea, the pain, right? Rapui, healing. How long is it going to take you to heal? To get back to where you were? Shabbat, loss of earnings. Obviously, you might not be able to work. And so you're going to have to be compensated for that. And then finally, boshet, the embarrassment caused by being injured. Right? These 5 things the rabbis would then say, they would figure out the value of that injury. And it's not just, every eye is the same. Right? If you were a bowman in the army, you need your eye to be able to tell distance. If you only have one eye, you don't have much depth perception. Doesn't make it easy to fire a bow and arrow. Right? If you are an artist and you lose a hand, that is worth more to somebody, and they did a scale all the way down to the bottom. The bottom level of employment was Shomer Hakishuim, the guy or gal who watched the cucumber patch at night, right? That was like whatever low job we have today. That was like McDonald's or whatever, right? I mean,
I'd rather.
yeah. But that was like the easiest job because there are no wild animals that are going to come and steal cucumbers, right? A lion is not going to come to eat a cucumber, but if you were watching the sheep, bears, lions, whatever could come, and you have to, it requires some skill. The Shomer Kishuim basically just sat there all night, making sure nobody ran away with the Kishuim, right? But that was the lowest level. And even that person, if they were injured, was entitled to compensation. So the rabbis did this, and yes, I think, they invented lawyers at this point, right? Because this is what we need to do. But the idea is so revolutionary. It's no longer if I accidentally knock out your eye, or even if I do it on purpose. You don't get my eye, but you get compensated. And the greater the pain, the more the compensation, the greater the embarrassment. If somebody who was very wealthy just decided that it was okay to kick you around, that embarrassment would be greater than if it was somebody who was of your own social class. Right? And so the rabbis put these together. And there's actually one other step. The person who has harmed the other must ask forgiveness. That's given in all times when we hurt someone. Rambam, Maimonides, my favorite philosopher, puts it this way, quote, "No compensation is complete. No wrong is forgiven until the person who inflicted the injury requests the victim's forgiveness and has been forgiven." All too often we think apologies are, I'm sorry. Well, I said I was sorry and that's good enough. No. Rambam says you have to get the forgiveness. It's not just enough for you to say. And as we study in Rambam's Mishnah Torah, you might not get forgiveness the first time you ask because you might have hurt the person too much and they can't on Tuesday, after you've injured them on Sunday, give you forgiveness. You might have to go back a couple of times and show that you are truly repentant of what you have done. All right, and so that's Rambam. So in the end, our tradition, with its concern for soul and body, realizes that injuries to the body, the loss of a limb, can never be fully compensated. Moreover, this could spark bloody revenge, right? Hoyt, cut my arm off, and now I'm going to go after him, or I'm going to go after his family, or I'm going to go after, and it just spins out of control. Therefore, our tradition mandates a just form of compensation and reconciliation. In its attempt to treat all people justly, the Torah and the rabbis who interpreted it established a system of justice and peace for all people. In fact, near the very end of this parsha, we are commanded, Mishpat echad yihye lachem keger ka-ezrach yihye ki ani Adonai Elohechem. This we should put on all of our buildings in which trials and law are adjudicated. You shall have one standard for stranger and citizen alike. For I, the Lord, am your God. If somebody is a stranger, they don't get a harsher penalty than somebody who is B'nai Yisrael. And B'nai Yisrael doesn't get a lesser penalty than a stranger because they are B'nai Yisrael. It's one standard of justice because that's how God judges us. It's not a sliding scale.
What's going on in Israel right now? Isn't that an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth?
Isn't every war an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. Right?
But it seems like an eye for an eye and a head for it.
Well, as I've said many times, as Westerners, we have a tough time understanding the headspaces of Middle Eastern people, right? And I was talking at dinner last night. The 9th and 10th century in England is when the poem Beowulf was starting to be written down. And Europeans are like patting themselves on the back. Oh, look at that. We have literature in the 10th century. Oh, aren't we special? Go to the Middle East, and great libraries, Library of Alexandria, had been burnt centuries before. Literatures came and went. We had the Talmud already codified by the time the Brits stopped painting themselves blue to fight the Celts, or the Celts stopped painting themselves blue to fight the Brits. We already had a literature. North Africa already had literatures. The entire Middle East had literatures. Asia had literatures that predate even the Middle Eastern literatures. So we can't get our headspace because we are new kids on the block.
So Israelis, to me, are not like regular Middle Eastern people. They're headspace.
Which Israelis are you talking about? Are you talking about the Mizrahi? Because the Mizrahi are those kinds of Middle Eastern people. Not necessarily, they might not be thinking that way, but you got to remember, Israel was founded not by Mizrahi Jews, but by Ashkenaz Jews imported from what's Central and Eastern Europe, in which they understood democracy. Why is Israel the only democracy? Because it was founded by European Jews. I maintain, as did
should not be this. I support Israel 100%. I just don't like what is happening right now.
You're not alone. Lots of people support Israel and are upset at how things are unfolding. But the point is, are we upset because we want Israel to behave like a Western democracy? Or are we upset because we see what what happens when you have this kind of mindset, right? The Mizrahi Jews look like Jews, right? We don't look like the indigenous Jewish population because we come from Western Europe.
I look like a Jew.
You look like a Jew from Europe,
Well,
but you don't look like a Sabra. You don't look like a Mizrahi Jew.
I do think it's a valid point to think whether, as we defend ourselves, we are measured in how we go about it. And I know there's terror and there's Hamas, and that's terrible, but I think eye for an eye still gives us something to think about.
Oh, it does. I mean, I'm not arguing, but if Israel had been founded not by Ashkenaz Jews, but by Mizrahi Jews, who were considered and still are considered second class by the Ashkenazi ruling elite, we'd look a lot like Jordan.
we look a lot like.
We would look a lot like Jordan, but it would be a Zionist state. It would be one that had been founded by people who understand the Middle East. I don't think I'm too far off on this. I mean, I don't know what to do because there's part of me
I
that
don't know what to do either, but the government is not about, the government is about an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth and, a head for a tooth and.
Well, I mean, one of my teachers wrote a piece saying that for the first time in history, a pogrom was stopped by the Israeli army.
Yeah.
You got to unpack that, right? Because for the first time in our history, we have an army that can stop what other people got away with in other countries for centuries. I don't know. It is tough. And an eye for an eye.
There is no answer.
No, there is no
Until
answer.
the world changes, but.
There's no answer. But I'll take suggestions. I will take suggestions.
Well, I got to get rid of anti-Semitism and racism and.
We won't solve it.
Misogyny.
You know what it is in terms of things like racism and anti-Judaism and things like that? It's like you can't have Thanksgiving without having gratitude, right? If you don't have gratitude, you can never be thankful. And to deal with racism and all the isms out there, you have to be willing to acknowledge that they exist. Right? You have to acknowledge that they exist and that they're a problem. In this country, the reason racism is still so problematic is because we have a large group that will not recognize that there's been racism in this country since the Spaniards landed in Florida and the Keys and the other places where they first hit.
You know, because monetarily, the ruling class, it's to their benefit to pit people against each other.
It's the same in Israel. Why are the Mizrahi, which is the largest group of Jews in Israel, why are they not at the head of power? Because when the Ashkenaz Zionists came in, they made them second-class citizens because they didn't look like us. They didn't look like European Jews. They looked like Middle Easterners, and they kept them. They kept them down. They
That whiteness.
It's a whiteness, yeah. Yeah. Some of us are whiter than others. I mean, you know, the further north you get, the whiter you get. Right? Further south you get, the darker you get. And that's why, you know, everybody thinks, you know, Jesus looked like us. No, he looked more like Yasser Arafat or who's a famous Israeli that we would know, but not an Ashkenaz Israeli, a Mizrahi Israeli. Do we know any?
Jesus, he looked like a Middle Eastern person.
Right, which is not what we look like.
No, he was brown and
Brown, curly hair, short, probably bad teeth. This is before dentistry, before we had Dr. Feldman.
I think we should let you get back to the rest of your drosh. We have sidetracked you.
No, my drosh is done. My drosh is done.
it's the discussion.
It's the dust. I thought we
I'm
short
always
circuited
for
you.
the
No.
discussion.
Yeah, you've already short-circuited me.
He sounded like he was done.
Tovi, you have something you want to share?
Something to share. It'll be quick.
Oh, yeah, right, until Maxine starts asking questions.
Well, I can't guarantee what Maxine does. She's her own person.
I'm a Jew.
That's exactly right, ask the questions.
All right, guys, so 2 minutes. This is what I'm going to
TikTok,
call.
TikTok.
This is what
I'm
I'm going to
watching.
call a tiny Torah talk. I'm excited.
I'm gonna steal that.
It's called "You Shall Answer Your Souls." Every week, Jews worldwide are all members of the same book club.
Toby, can you speak up?
Yes, together every week we read the same Torah portion. We're a book club. The text never changes, but what we see and resonate with in the text changes every time. The same words, like faceted diamonds, scatter the light of our holy word differently as they resonate through time and space. The Torah portion this week, Amor, means speak. I imagine Moses in this moment standing and facing his people. More important than this moment for me, right? What was this like, right? Was he nervous or confident? We don't know. How he felt is not known, but we do know what he spoke about. This portion starts with the rules guiding priests and their rituals. After a few aliyot, we get to the good part, the festivals. Hint, hint. What defines a people? Is it what we do in isolation? No, it is what we do in community. It is in this moment, as Moses speaks of the festivals, that we become a people. We learn how to pass our days, weeks, and years. We learn when to rest and when to celebrate. Leviticus instructs us to celebrate each festival in its appointed time for all time. Why are there pilgrimage festivals? Because they require the Israelites to leave their homes, to join together, and to go to Jerusalem. They require sharing space and community. As Rabbi Ben Spratt said in a Devar Torah on this portion, the sacred is not found sequestered in safety, but rather it is realized by moving into a world of others. The verse on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, says, Ve'initem et nafshotechem. Is that right? Great. This is usually translated as, you shall practice self-denial, or you shall afflict yourself. Rabbi Ben Spratt and I, although he's, more learned, of course, prefer a translation closer to the Hebrew. You shall answer your souls. This portion demands that we answer our souls by celebrating in community. In the spirit of More Speak, I ask you all, and Hoyt asks you all, to come to our music festival tomorrow and answer your soul by dancing. Thank you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Told you to be short.
It was longer than 2 minutes.
Dang it, I'll time it before I speak next
No,
time.
no, it's okay.
Gotta have it. You gotta make it interesting.
Time is fluid. Time is fluid. The point is, right? I mean, we shall celebrate, right? And that's the thing. We celebrate. We are not a religion of death. We are not a death cult. We celebrate. And later on in the Torah, it says, "V'chai b'chem," and you will live either by them or with them, right? The Torah teaches us to live, right? Not to be sad, not to curl up and hide. And believe me, friends, when you read the history of the Shoah, when you read about the Warsaw Ghetto, yeah, they were afraid. Yeah, they were not afraid. They were terrified, but they still celebrated. They celebrated B'nai Mitzvah. They celebrated birthdays. They celebrated the Chagim. Now, they didn't blow the roof off, but even when they knew their days were numbered, they still celebrated, because that's what we do. We live by the mitzvot. We don't die by them. We live. And part of living means to celebrate and to dance when it's appropriate to dance, right? In Proverbs, right? There's a time for everything. A time to be sad and a time to be joyful, a time to sing and a time to dance, a time to mourn. It's not just one thing, right? There are specific times. And tomorrow is a time to dance. It's a time to kick up your heels and revel and celebrate the fact that we can dance and that we're going to have great music, klezmer music. But it's not your grandfather's klezmer, I guarantee you that, right? It's a little.
I don't know what your grandfather's klezmer was like.
It's not the typical klezmer. Klezmer has evolved and has become reinterpreted by a lot. That's what I mean. It's not the. Well, I'm wrong, probably. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Klezmer is just klezmer.
I don't know. I mean, we really like the old stuff. Most of what we know we learned from listening to recordings from 100 years ago or looking at manuscripts, things that were collected in the 1800s. So, I mean, that's like before my grandfather's time. I guess it is probably your grandfather's time, though, right?
Well,
so we might very well be playing your grandfather's klezmer.
But you don't know how it was. I mean, yeah. The point is,
I can only aspire.
No. What I'm saying, what I'm saying is that every generation gives a new spin to the stuff.
Sure. Someone who looks like me would not do any of the things that I am doing today 100 years ago.
Right, and that's the point. Is that so? If you're coming with preconceived notions, don't.
Yeah.
We've heard some people think it's stuffy and boring, and it will not be that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. We're
Even-
not stuffy for it.
Even the stuff from 100 years ago wasn't stuffy and boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was ecstatic.
It was
Yeah.
100 years ago. It was pretty amazing.
I agree.
Open your mind, folks.
Yeah.
Open your mind.
I'll be there.
I know you'll be
Good.
there.
All right.
You're a
Okay.
big part
We
of
could go
this.
on all
That's
day.
a big part.
You're a big part of this. And I will thank
You don't know
you
you're a big
today
part.
and tomorrow.
What?
I'm going to thank you today and I'm going to thank you again tomorrow. You're a big part of this. You
It's-
really are.
You don't think it's part of
Page 282.
my responsibility?
We'll continue our discussion a little bit later. Page 282. Please rise. Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula liotzer reishit, shelo asanu b'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu kurim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yosei haaretz ומשה יקברו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו, בגודל מרומי. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, השמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad. You may be seated. This week we observed the following yard sites. Thelma Cohen, Bernie's wife, Mickey Goldenberg's sister-in-law. Edward Israel Island, Evelyn's husband, Peter's father. Muriel Chase, Max Netchin's sister, Isidore and Julia's father. Isidore and Julia's mother. Neil Reuben Monroe, Miranda's father. Daisy Macinter Gross, Israel's wife. Roger, Stephen, and Marvin's mother. Norma Levine, Mo's wife. Regina's mother. Ralph Leon Macinter, Gazella's husband. Saul and Jenny's son. Lois Jean and Edgar's father. Morton S. Cohn, Ed Island's brother-in-law. Samuel Footlick, Betty Colker's maternal grandfather. Nikki Annette Goldstein Katz, Bernice Stern's sister. Jack Pressman, Tom's father. Edith Fallon, Harry's wife, the mother of Eileen, Ron, and Denise. Bessie Schlossberg, Albert's wife, Gazella and Sonny's mother. Nancy Snyder, Stephen's mother. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they always rest in peace. Page 294, Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Kadal, Yit Kadash, Shmei Rabbah, Balma Divrach Girte, Biamlik Malchute, Bechayechon, Biomechon, Uchaye, Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bizman, Kari, Vimru, Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah, Mivorach, Leolam, Lamei Amayah, Yit Barach, Vishtabach, Yit Par, Yit Ramam, Yit Naseh, Yit Hadar, Yit Aled, Yit Halal, Shmei Kucha, Rechu, Le'lam inko birchata b'shirata, tush b'chata b'nechamata, damiram ba'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. You may be seated. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. I just want to thank everybody for being here. We had 70% closer to a minion than we usually are. No, but the energy in the room was palpable. It was wonderful being here this morning. Lots of energy, lots of just, that's all I can say, lots of energy. So thanks for being here. I'm going to ask our president, because I'm not going to ask, I'm going to say, Hoyt has some words to say. And so come on up, Hoyt.
All right.
Hoyt, who celebrated a birthday recently.
Yay.
And I am thankful for Hoyt because he has just hit the birthday that I will be hitting in September. And apparently it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. It's pretty good. 57 is great. And the great thing about getting older And I'm pretty sure that we're older than most people here. Not everybody, but we won't name names.
72 is not that great, I have to say.
Oh, you see, look, I want to be like you when I
But
grow
you are
older.
fabulous.
But yeah, honestly, I love it. So here's the thing. The wonderful thing about getting older is that you learn to appreciate the important things and you don't let the trivial things matter. There's an expression for that, but it's not family friendly. But I'll tell you later if you want to ask.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
That's right. There's also a book written,
Yeah.
we won't get into that. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
A big warm West Virginia welcome to Cantor Sarah Myerson. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here. We're looking forward to hosting you and also listening to you. And it's wonderful. I heard you singing today. You probably heard me. I'm sorry, but I know it's going to be great tomorrow. I am so thankful. This has been a long time coming. We have planned for this over several months, and I do want to give a shout out today because I think most everybody here has had a hand in it. Starting with the rabbi, who thank you so much, Rabbi Judd, for this, and Toby. Can't say enough. You've been integral to helping us with this. Thank you so much. Maxine, yes, you have helped, and you know how you have helped.
Okay,
and,
that's it, that's your last thank you.
all right, well, I'm giving you one tomorrow.
We gotta stop with
Nick
Maxine.
Frieden
There's other
in the
people to
back.
thank.
Nick, big help on this. Miranda, big supporter. You've always been supporting, and of course,
Nick
last
is
but not-
making tons of latkes. This is exciting.
it is. My daughter is at home right now making some treats. She is a baker extraordinaire, as the rabbi will attest.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
She makes the babka, and you would think that she's actually been a New York resident her whole life, but she's only there for about 8 months now. So anyway,
Martha gave me an itinerary.
Wonderful. It's going to be great. We're going to have
Wow.
singing,
Exciting.
dancing. We're going to have a photo booth by one of my friends, Melissa Perella. The rabbi is going to be some close-up magic, right?
Yeah.
What do you go by when you do your magic? What's your handle?
Reality disturber.
Reality.
Reality
Do you have a
disturber.
name like the
RD.
RD?
That's
So I just RD magician or just
Just
RD?
RD.
RD. Okay, RD. I'll introduce you as RD. RD.
My initials. Reality disturber. RD.
I like that. I like that.
Robert D.
And it's going to be hot, so hydrate.
Hydrate,
We'll
yes.
have water.
We're thankful for that. Some other things, we will have a service tomorrow at 9, but because we're having the festival, there will not be any study with the rabbi tomorrow.
You'll be learning about klezmer. You'll be
Klezmer.
dance and
It is
dancing.
wonderful, and I've had an opportunity to watch the YouTube clips, and I'm just very excited to be a part of this. I will MC. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if I do more than MC. We'll see what
We'll see
things.
what we can do.
Can't promise anything. Anyway, and then are we having Yiddish choir this week, Toby?
We're having Yiddish choir.
So Yiddish choir with Toby and Scott Murphy at 7 p.m. And then we're back here Friday. But I'm so excited. And today's
I'm
any
so
indication,
excited.
I think it's going to be great. Yeah, the Pointer Sisters. Yeah, you see, we're the same age. We get it. We
You
get
are
it.
older than me. You are a little
Anyway,
bit older than
But
me.
I did have a great birthday, and this is going to be a cap off to a great week. I was in New York, and it's just awesome. I went to Cat's Deli, and this year we just ordered it in, got the Grubhub, and just stayed in our hotel room the whole day. Because
Amazing.
that's how you do it now, you know?
Yiddish room service.
Yeah, Yiddish room service. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for being in this morning and out there in internet land. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, sir.
Rock and roll.
Yes, I am so looking forward to tomorrow.
One more thing for Sarah. So I just wanted to say.
Come on up. You said you had something.
I don't
No,
come up.
you had something
I don't
else.
have to come up. I
Then don't come up. Fine.
I won't. So I just wanted to say that I'm excited about all the musicians, but I'm excited that the person who created the coolest moment of Yiddish New York for me is here. The first night we came, she led everybody around in a dance. We're doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, old, young, can't dance. All people from all walks of life. We were real shaken up after October 2nd, but that moment was beautiful. So this is an amazing dance leader. I'm over the moon. We're very thankful to have her. She sings, she plays instruments, so please dance with us tomorrow.
Wonderful.
She's amazing.
Come dancing.
You'll see a whole other side of
Where
her.
Wonderful.
are your cohorts?
They don't keep Shabbos in the way that I keep Shabbos.
If
Ah,
we
they
were
like
in
yesterday
before
spring,
sundown.
I would
Yeah,
dance at the
Shabbos
store.
people.
They are, but they
Not
observe
later, not resting Shabbos people.
Disclosure. Cantor, Sarah, and I know each other from Brooklyn. Well, everybody knows everybody in Brooklyn, right? But Cantor Sarah was the high holiday cantor for me one year not for me, for my congregation, when I was in Brooklyn. And it was a sublime experience. It was one of the best high holidays I had. So when I saw the names of the people for the Brooklyn klezmer trio, Sarah Meyerson's name was on there. I'm like, okay. Sarah's a common name. Meyerson is not an uncommon name, but it's not, it's not like Katz or Cohen or something. So I'm thinking, oh, is this Sarah? Is this Sarah that I know? And then my phone rings, and it's Sarah. Are you Rabbi Bob from West Virginia? I'm like, yes. And so it was so great. And so Cantor is here with Steve and me and the dogs. She's now a member of the pack. The cats, I don't know. They're cats. They're cats. They haven't thrown her out, so they haven't made. But I'm truly blessed to have a friend and colleague here this weekend, and so it's been great catching up. Had dinner last night. There was babka brought from Brooklyn,
Oh, yeah.
literally from a Hasidic bakery. There was halva. Halva was brought,
Oh, wow.
and the halva is.
Half of my
Just the
bag
smell
was
of the
just
babka
bakery.
when you cut it. Oh my god.
No, it wasn't that was it. I mean, I really appreciate Sarah being here, but I mean,
The babka
the
doesn't hurt.
babka doesn't hurt, and I'm telling you, the halva, I am a huge favorite, and it's proof that God loves us.
Yeah.
Right? God gave us beer and halva,
When I go to Israel, I come back with halva.
and yet you've
Yeah.
never given me any of the halva you come back with.
Well, no,
No,
that's
that's okay.
next time I go to Israel.
Now you go to the shuk, and you go to not the shuk, and there are halva stands, and there's one particular halva stand that the halva will basically just throw itself at you
Yeah.
and
I mean,
force you to
in-
eat it.
In Jerusalem or?
Yeah, Machne Yehuda.
They're both good. They both look amazing combo.
Yeah,
I go to a store in Hadera, because that's where my family lives. What am I gonna
you're
do?
gonna go to Jerusalem to get me halva.
I'm not allowed to go to Jerusalem next time my family says.
I thought the city said you're not allowed to go because you always go there and you agitate and cause trouble.
Wow.
No, I'm joking. All right, friends, we're gonna close
I
out.
agitate here and
You can stay here and agitate and cause trouble. Halva, proof that God loves us.
I know.
Who knew sesame seeds could taste so good? Could taste so good.
Sesame seeds and sugar.
Well, don't ruin it
Anything
all.
with sugar
I'm gonna
tastes
eat
good.
tomorrow.
Marble, how about?
Marble halva,
Yeah.
pistachio came to my door,
Oh, pistachio.
and I only had a little bit because I was going to share, but now I'm not. All right, we'll close out on 322 with Ein Kelohenu, and then Kiddush. Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Chemalkeinu, Mi Chemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha Ketoret Asamim. Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Beini ubein Bnei Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael, oti liolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. זכור יום השבת לקדשו, 6 ימים תעבוד ועשית כל מלאכתך. ביום השביעי שבת לאדוני אלוהיך, לא תעשה כל מלאכה, אתה ובן כל ביתך, עבדך ואמתך ובהמתך וגרך אשר בישעריך. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני השמיים והארץ, את הים ואת כל אשר בם. וינח ביום השביעי, על כן ברך אדוני יום השבת, ויקדשהו סברי ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. Kedem grape juice cannot be beaten. Well, the halva, the babka. Yeah, okay.
Lydia's making babka.
There are things that can beat Kedem grape juice. All right. Who says hello to us today? Oh, there's Mom. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's Mom, Cliff, and Nathaniel, the gift of God, also known as the Prince. Thanks, Mom, Cliff, and Nathaniel. Wishing all a peaceful weekend and a great afternoon tomorrow. Thanks, Mom. Wish we could be there. Well, we'll see if we can't get you on my what's it called? FaceTime. Judy Lundy, grateful to be upright and smiling. Judy, aren't we all? Wonderful. Thank you. Wishing all a relaxing and enjoyable Shabbat. Same to you, Judy. All right, friends, lots going on. Maybe not during the rest of the week, but certainly today and tomorrow. Please, hope to see you there at the Clest, Virginia Music Festival. The Brooklyn Klezmer Trio will be there, and it is going to be fabulous. That didn't come out fabulous, right? It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to dance. We'll probably wind up singing because you'll know some of the words. And if not, just make them up. That's what we do.
I'll just hum.
Or hum. All right, friends. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Enjoy the day. And please be careful out there.
Thank you. That's very good.
I'd like to say we're
So
using
how's
this
your
button.
She's great. She's back home. You'll see her tomorrow.